Grace White, and I have lived in the Godley area for approximately 5 years. I am not much of a public speaker, but the city is important to me, and I wanted to offer another way to look at things. I just wanted help. I do not intend for any of my comments to be rude or hateful. If they appear so, I apologize profusely. Over the last few months, I have watched the interactions between the council and residents. My observations show me there is a lack of cohesion and a lot of disdain between our city leaders and residences. My suggestions come from life experience and education. Number one, when a request or an item agenda is made, it should be done in a civil tone. When it is presented as a demand in a acerbic tone, it will instantly put people on the defensive and not inclined to be in a listening mode. I have seen this behavior cause people to stop responding completely. It should be reframed as a request for help. For instance, I'm having a problem with this issue, with such and such, can you help? For example, there was a communication issue in the last one. It was presented as a demand, and it would have been more productive to phrase it as a request for help. A solution could have been easily made if someone was put on the defensive. For instance, one of the solutions I would have asked for or suggested would have been a dedicated email group only for council members who could discuss the business. Now, yes, under law, they are still public information. They have to be open for that, but it would give you an opportunity to clear out your email accounts and have a more specific place for your community interactions. As for the interim employee, excuse me, I'm not much of a speaker. I understand what Mayor Godley was saying. He hired an agency. The agency found him an interim employee, and he hired her. He has the right to do that. In order to reduce those fees, he suggested that we hire her. If hired, she has a 6-month probationary period according to the rules. An interview with that person can and should be done in executive sessions as it's a personnel issue. Or we could keep her on the agency and start interviewing other candidates, and that person also, if she'd like to be interviewed, thus you alleviate and assist the concerns that some of the other council members have. It is common decency and respect to allow a person to finish speaking before interrupting. The council and the audience, you have to allow them to speak. We need to get back to civility, to be the community we love, and to work together. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. You don't have to agree, but they have every right to it. With open discussion and stated reasons for the outcome, either at that time or at a later date, a short time frame, it is more acceptable and the parties should be able to move forward. Thank you.
Peter Rich.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. My name is Peter Wrench. I'm not a judge, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not even a resident of Godley, so maybe my opinion doesn't matter, but I did used to manage used to supervise a records management department, for a county government, and so I know a little bit about records management. From what I've read, heard, and seen in the media, I do not believe that Councilwoman Thompson committed a crime. The law says in Texas Penal Code 3710, subsection A, subsection 1, a person commits an offense if he knowingly makes a false entry in or false alteration of a government record, a governmental record. So then we ask, what is a government record, governmental record? Under Texas Penal Code 37.01, subsection 2, the law defines a governmental record as something belonging to, received by, or kept by government for information, including a court record. And so when I was supervising the records management department, generally what that meant was that it was not considered a governmental record unless it was in the possession of the local government entity, the governing entity. What I can tell, Ms. Thompson edited a copy of a government record, not the actual government record. You know, there's a big difference, because if she was guilty of tampering with a governmental record, by altering a copy of the agenda that was sent out to her and presumably others, other council members, other interested stakeholders, then it would be no different than if I took this copy of your agenda that was handed out here today, made some edits on it, then that would be considered a crime, which clearly it wouldn't be. If I took this copy that you handed out to the public and made edits on it, would that be considered a crime? I don't think so. I don't think any jury would convict someone of doing that. I don't think a jury would convict Ms. Thompson of doing what she did. I think you've done her a great injustice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
James Tribble. Scott Yarborough.
Evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. I'm Scott Yarborough, and I'm running for City Council. As of the last meeting, a number of individuals on both sides of this chasm have come to me, and they've asked me this question. Scott, if you win a seat on the council, will you be with us or will you be with them? And the answer, I'm getting it from both sides, and the answer is yes. Because your question is malformed, okay? It's the us and the them that's the problem. You don't like Jennifer Thompson? Welcome back, by the way. That's on you. That's between you and her to figure out. You don't like one of Councilwoman Thompson's policies? I want to hear from you. Talk to me. What is your argument? Similarly, you don't like A.C. McGehee. That's between you and A.C. McGehee. But just because you don't like A.C. McGehee, if you decide to vote for me, don't expect me not to vote for something that Mayor McGehee proposes that is beneficial to we the people. Not gonna go there. I don't do personalities. I don't do cliques, and I will not do good old boy. What I will do is we the people. As one, all of us, together. I love, with all of my heart, Mary Ann Matthews. And I think you know that, don't you? Do you know why I love you so much? I don't either. Do you know how much I love you? I don't either, but none of those questions matter. Because we just go for it, don't we? Doesn't matter. But just because I care for Mary Ann Matthews a lot, doesn't mean that if Mary Ann proposes a solution that I find, in my mind, will not benefit the majority of we, the people, I'm not gonna vote for it. So, what is your solutions? Give us a solution, Scott. Okay, here's one. And there'll be more to come. If I am elected to this council, The first thing that I'm gonna try to do, given everything is, you know, back to normal a little bit, is I want a comprehensive municipal master plan for this city. One that takes into account our old-time heritage. One that preserves our traditions in our town of Godley, but also provides managed space for new homes and new businesses, so that the new folks that come in can build a new tradition with all of us together. If that's something that interests you, come see me. I'm at the computer shop. I'm there all day usually. Come by, let's talk, let's chat, call me. Whatever you wanna do, let's talk. That's what I'm interested in doing. And happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I'm gonna go have some dinner with my sweetheart. Welcome back.
Or Mrs. Hind? Or Hood? Hood or Hind? Head.
Is it Georgia Head?
Head, yes
Yeah,
ma'am,
that's me.
sorry.
Hey y'all, I'm Georgia Head. My mom and daddy moved me to Johnson County in 1967. I've been here a while, quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of this good old boy system that just runs amok around here, alright? And what I wanna talk about tonight and bring to y'all's attention, I have a few questions. I have this, copy of this, arrest warrant for Councilwoman Thompson here, and have a lot of questions about it. If you look online, I've got several, maps, but there are some links, johnsoncountytexas.org. You can see the precincts, okay? Our county's mapped out into precincts, okay? And each county has its own justice of the peace. The city of Godley is like, if you're looking at the map, it's like on the upper left, okay? I have a real serious question because the Honorable Justice of the Peace, Judge McBroom, is in charge of Godley, okay? Instead, Judge McBroom's signature is not on this, and that makes me wonder, but the Honorable Robert Shaw's signature is on this. If you look at that map, Godley's up here, Robert Shaw is like way over here, total opposite ends of the county, okay? That just brings up a lot of questions for me. Why did the Godley Police Department get this particular judge? Okay, he represents the complete opposite side of the county, and I believe he lives in Venus. And that's literally as far away from Godley as anywhere you can go in this county, okay? Was it, and he got that judge to sign this arrest warrant, was it because they first tried to get Judge McBroom to sign the arrest warrant, but he knew what she did was not a crime, and he had enough integrity not to get used by the Godley Police Department? That's a question I have, I think it's very legitimate, and I really am looking forward to the answer to that. Why did the Godley Police Department arrest Jennifer Thompson 30 minutes before the city council meeting instead whenever that meeting had ended? Or on the day the arrest warrant was drawn up, okay? In my opinion, it's all political. The Godley establishment weaponized the Godley PD so that she could not vote on the agenda items, and the mayor knew all about it beforehand.
Yep.
There is no way I can believe that a police department would take the extreme measure of arresting a sitting city council member without at least informing the mayor that they would be doing so, if not asking for permission. In my opinion, that would be a great way for a police chief himself to get fired.
Greg Cooper?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Tonight I'm speaking on Texas Government Code, section 551.042, inquiry made at a meeting. It's on your agenda. This code is defined and is written on your agenda, allows you to respond to the people under 3 circumstances: factual information, existing city policy, and a request for an item to be added to a future agenda. I'm requesting you add to a future agenda the following items. Discussion of the following: why Mayor A.C. McGehee did not call a special meeting requested by 3 aldermen multiple times in late 2022 and 2023. Why the mayor unilaterally closed City Hall without the governing body's consent and approval. While Councilwoman Whitehead, Matthews, and Mayor A.C. McGehee failed to attend a special called meeting by Mayor Pro Tempore Michael Papenfus which could have resulted in the delay of City Hall being open sooner than it's still not open. Why Mayor A.C. McGehee entered into an agreement with former Chief Police Jason Jordan. This was reported in the Star-Telegram without consent and approval of the governing body. To determine if members of the Godley Police Department were used in the following inappropriate manners: as an enforcement mechanism against political foes, to suppress valid, potentially criminal investigations into ISD Superintendent Rich Deere and other members of the ISD, to suppress, discourage, and deter complaints based on motives which potentially compromise investigations. I'm also requesting you add the following items to a future agenda: discussion and possible action on the hiring procedures, including possible removal of any Godley police officers who were not appropriately hired and confirmed by the governing body, specifically Officer Quinteros and any others this applies to. Discussion should include the following: who from the city, not the ISD, posted the job rec to meet the equal employment opportunity criteria, and where was it posted? Who from the city, not the ISD, screened, interviewed, extended offers of employment, and ultimately hired Officer Quinteros? Action to remove Quinteros from service and comply with all code and law defined under hiring procedures. We now know that you, the council, know what's required to confirm these positions. You did it last week, the last meeting with Officer Law. Your actions in open session last meeting can no longer deny this. Are you aware that Texas Police Chiefs Association states that the way you hired Quinteros is outside of compliance with best practices in law enforcement? That's Texas Police Chiefs Association. You should. I contacted them. Furthermore, what happened last meeting was appalling. Effectively perp walking one of your fellow council members was disgraceful and detestable. Waiting 47 days for the right time and right place, effectively 30 minutes before the governing body met, was sickening. Have you effectively weaponized the police department, creating a political martyr in Councilwoman Thompson? Now, concerning city attorneys, can any of you explain the correlation between former city attorney Cass Calloway and the law firm Wyatt Hamilton Finley? Cass Calloway is the municipal judge for the city of Addison, Texas, and works closely with, you guessed it, Wyatt Hamilton Finley, who is the city attorney for Addison. How convenient. Was this information withheld for you, or were you aware of it? Also, please explain factually why the city of Godley used Justice of the Peace Precinct 4, Honorable Judge Robert Shaw, and not Precinct 1. Precinct 1 is Godley, and is the Honorable Ronnie McBroom. He presides. Did he say no? Precinct 4 is 2 precincts to the east. The public demands a factual response. You can give a factual response to this. Why the city of Godley and Godley Police Department chose to go outside the precinct to possibly shop a warrant in a neighboring precinct. You can answer with facts right here, right now. So as defined in Government Code 551.042, I have 3 questions that require factual responses. Was the Quinteros hiring done 100% appropriately by you, the city, and not the ISD? Did your lawyer fail to disclose that the law firm, Wyatt Hamilton Finley, contracts with the same city that Cass Calloway is a municipal judge for? And why did Godley use Precinct 4 over Precinct 1? Godley's entitled to these answers. You owe it to the community to clear these up. You can start today. I'm handing you proof that that Officer Quinteros' job was posted on the ISD website. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, let me know. Your agenda allows you to factually respond to those. On the back page is the hiring that was posted on the ISD website.
non-agenda items. I just want to remind you of the Texas Open Meetings Act. In order to make a change, that has to be posted 72 hours prior, and clearly on this agenda it says you may address the council regarding any item on the agenda or any other issue of concern. You are not allowed to make up rules as you go. There are laws that have to be followed, and to make that change, not only would it have to be posted 72 hours prior, but as a governing body, you would have to vote on that policy change. This has been a policy for as long as I've been coming to these council meetings, about a year and a half. You can't just change a policy right before a meeting, so I just wanna let you know that. Also, I would like to speak again, as they have, on what happened last week. Mayor, I specifically called a point of order at the end of the meeting, asking you to drop charges for Ms. Thompson, and you claim you had nothing to do with it. Now, I have open records and seen the affidavit that led up to the warrant for her arrest, and you were absolutely interviewed in that investigation. So to say that you had nothing to do with it was a lie.
Wow.
I would like this council to be truthful and to respond to inquiries from your citizens with facts. And I just, am literally appalled that the timing, 30 minutes before a meeting for the arrest of Ms. Thompson is highly suspicious. I mean, anybody can see that. You could have arrested her at any time. She's not a flight risk. She's in this town all the time. She owns Godley Pizza Station. You know where she's located. There was no reason to arrest her 30 minutes before this meeting. Thank you.
Taylor Blackwell? That's all, Mayor.
I have something to add. I'd like to request an agenda item for the next meeting to be added to the agenda. Discussion and action item, concerning a problem with the voting coercion that took place at the dais on February 7th.
Okay. We're here for one reason tonight, we have to call for the election for the city council. So, I would entertain a motion to adopt an ordinance to call the May 6th, 2023 general election.
I make that motion that we adopt an ordinance to call the May 6th, 2023 general election.
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Anything else, council? Meeting's over, we stand adjourned.